Oh, g'day again. Okay, I finally got a rear guard made, and this is the Mark III rear guard, the third attempt. And originally tried to make it the same as the front, using the bottom of the drum as the inner, and I made the same sort of bracket. As you can see, the bracket, I've cut that off since, laying on the floor under the buggy. And as I mentioned in the previous video, the rear wheels are bigger, and the drum is actually too small. It's basically the exact size of the tyre, so when you put it up 3 inches off the tyre, the curve isn't the same. It's nearly touching the tyre at either end and up in the middle. And firstly I'll show you, this is what I attempted to make, and I had all sorts of funny issues with that. The first thing I tried to do was to straighten out this rear part. I cut off the ridge here, and then I put a bit of board under it, propped it up so it was level, and I started heating it with the heat gun, expecting it to just sort of flop down and level out by itself. But that didn't happen, and I ended up melting it and buckling it, and this piece that's on the side, I straightened that out, and I just had a board on it, and you don't need anywhere near as much heat as I thought you need. Like, you basically only have to have it like hot enough so that you can't touch it, but evenly. Then you put another board on top, clamp it, and you can actually preheat the boards a little bit as well. That helps. And press it. You put 2 pieces on, put some clamps on it, and leave it for half an hour or something till it cools down, and it stayed straight. And I also put the bend in it that same way. While it was clamped and while it was warm, I got 2 pieces of metal either side of this, clamped together with vice grips, and just pulled it down. That worked pretty easy, and all would have been good, except that the intention was to plastic weld it. And I've had a couple of goes at plastic welding, and they work fine. I repaired a fairing and a mudguard on a motorbike, and I actually have videos on that. I did a video of the first one I ever did. It worked quite well. But this plastic just won't weld. This is totally different plastic than what I'd previously tried to weld. And the first one I thought I'd done a decent weld. It was still nice and straight. Well, this part anyway, from where I buckled it. But then when I had a look at it, it hadn't actually joined, and this plastic appears to have a lot of oil in it or something, and the oil comes to the surface and runs in between the joints and stops it bonding. It just, and then I had 2 or 3 goes, and I ended up making a real mess of it anyway, trying to get it to weld by putting too much heat, and then I gave up on that altogether. Start again. So that would have been, had that welded properly, that would have been ideal, because it was lighter than what I've done now, and a whole lot more simple. And by having this natural bend in the plastic, it holds its shape and everything. But anyway, as I said, it wasn't to be. So then I make the whole inner piece out of metal, and I didn't have a sheet of metal that was thick enough, or the thickness I want. It's about 2 mil, and I'll take it outside to show you what I used. And So I cut it out of this. This is a piece of shed purlin, and although I had to make it in 3 pieces and join them together, having this edge, this bent edge, see, because the last 6-7 inches of it are straight anyway, so it was good to have this bend. Because so I left the top on it. I measured that full length, and I left the top on it, and then cut the arch down here, and had to join it. But it was kind of worked out useful because, as I said, this top 7 or so inches is straight anyway, and it was good to have that already, that piece. As I said, I cut that top edge full length. I cut it just below the bend, below the rolled bend, so I'm trying to keep this rolled edge in it. But it was helpful having that on there because it's already square, it's already straight, it's got the nice rolled edge, and yeah, you can see where I've joined it there, joined it under there. So yeah, it's fairly straight. A few little dips in it. I'll run a bit of putty over that. But yeah, as I said, I joined them on, and then I just pulled it down, put a tack, pulled it down a bit more, put another tack every 2 or so inches, and then fully welded it, cleaned it off, and yeah, put the brackets on it. If you're doing brackets like this, if at all possible, weld them on the job. Yeah, this is something I've learnt over the years. You can make templates, you can measurements and whatever, and you weld them on, and then you can be guaranteed that the holes won't line up. It said even if you set it up perfectly, it'll distort while you're welding it or something, and yeah, and it won't work with your bolt holes. So yeah, if at all possible, weld it in place. I've also noticed I took this back bar off. It was one of the things I spoke about, being a whole lot of unnecessary weight. Sit over there. Yeah, it must weigh 10-15 kilos on its own, that piece. Serious. And yeah, but anyway, because it clamps down over this frame, I've added these pieces of metal in here just to take up the thickness. Like, it's not much, it's only 2mm, maybe 3, but that's enough to, if I'd have just bolted it up to here, that's enough to put it out of whack when you put the frame piece back on. And yeah, so there's this one of the pieces on it. There's a Bunnings square washers that I bought for some other job. What I'll actually do is when I take it off the finisher, because I got to finish a couple of welds. I couldn't get to them up there behind the shocky properly, and I'll weld the inside. I'll fully seal it so it doesn't rust between the metals. But yeah, I'll put the square washer on the back of it. I'll weld that on as well, because that's sort of it's still got that little bit of flex in it, and that's where it's actually flexing, is around the nut. So I'm going to weld that back on, and probably when I weld that back on, it'll be out of place. I'll have to, because that's already bent, so I'll probably have to straighten that to weld the washer on, and yeah, so that'll put the angle out. I'll have to straighten it up again afterwards, but yeah, that's the way it goes. But anyway, yeah, I'm fairly happy with that now. Yeah, so, take it off, clean it up again now. Notice the tape on there. It's something I learnt from another YouTube channel, which I probably wouldn't have thought of myself, like I've always been one to draw me lines, but yeah, on something like this, on a curved surface, it's hard to get a straight line, so Like even if you're doing it by measurement, you mark it every 2 or 3 inches or so at the measurement, and then you get your tape and you're running along, and start at the other end and side it as you're going. Give yourself a straight line that you can cut along. It also means you don't have to, wash off a pencil text or mark or something later anyway. So it's helpful in that respect too. This edge here was pretty easy because it already had a piece on the ground that was a curved piece. I was sort of tending to leave it on, but just to help hold the strength, but yeah, it's too wide, didn't match the front of them anyway, so. But yeah, so this line was about a ½ inch in from that edge, so I was able to just sight that. Rounded corners. Now you can guess at it, or if you want them all to be the same, grab something that's round and draw it. I've used this washer. This is a top off a shocky, car shocky, and yeah, mark the line with that. And did that on all. It's the same as I've used on all the guards, so all the corners are now exactly the same. Yeah, also underneath, I put a little bit of flat bar along there just to give it a bit of support. Yeah, I'll be putting some rivets in that, probably 4 rivets across there. That'll also help the top of it to flatten out anyway. So, but that's the only support that's needed. I think all these markings along here, they're every 40mm. So I'm going to put a rivet, and I put a lot of rivets, and I bought some of the larger rivets. They're 4.8mm thick, so yeah, alloy rivets. Yeah. I think I'll wait till it's finished and painted before I do that as well. And start at one end, doing one at a time, drill a hole, put a rivet in, drill the next hole, put a rivet in. But yeah, because it's already painted, and I don't want the metal going rusty in the rivet hole. Probably wouldn't anyway, because it sort of seals it. But just to be sure, I'll get a little bit of paint in a spray can cap or something, and I'll dip each rivet before I put it in, and then just have a rag, wipe it off. If you're doing that on a painted surface, of course you wouldn't dip the rivet, because then you can't wash or wipe it off the painted surface without affecting it. So if that was the case, you'd have a little tiny artist brush, and you can just dip a little bit of paint in each hole carefully so you don't get it on the painted surface. But yeah, it's not an issue with this, it's plastic. So as I said, I just dip the end of each rivet before I put it in and wipe it off. And, so I'll give you a look at both guards. The front ones are still a little bit out of shape. I'll gently heat them a little bit, pull them up. Actually, this one's not too bad. It's the other one. The other one's hanging down a bit at the front. So yeah, pull them up. Of course, I'll seam them corner edges off as well, like I mentioned in the other video. And, thinking also, just for looks, I can probably take another 4 inches off the bottom of that guard, I think, without it throwing mud up. Because if I do and then it does throw mud up, you can always put a mud flap on it later. So, but I think just for looks it needs to be a bit higher. Or possibly could have gone lower on the back, but yeah, back doesn't need to be any lower. But yeah, just to keep the two uniform. As I said, I probably could have brought the back one lower to match the front, but because I haven't, I've already cut it off. The only option now to make them similar is to cut a little bit off the bottom of the front. So anyway, there we go. Now I've got to copy that on the other side. And then we get back to painting it up and finishing it up. And I will make another video when it's all finished, just to show you the finished product. I'm also I've got a bit of aluminium sheet out there. It came off a caravan. So I'll fill in this area here on my foot here. Down in here, fill that in. I'll paint that blue, paint that blue. So yeah, this panel and this panel will be blue. I'll fill that in also from the back. That'll be just black. And I'll paint this panel blue as well. But yeah, that's the other thing that was happening, was the mud was coming straight through here all the time, going all over your legs and over your feet. And yeah, like these guards will stop it coming up in your face, but yeah, it'd still come off the side of it, it'd still be spraying through here. So as I said, yeah, I'll fill that in as well. Only with aluminium, so it's, and of course being aluminium I can't weld it on, so it'll have to be a series of rivets. This side will be easy enough. I'll put a fold in it, bring it over a little bit, just enough to get a rivet in. On the top, because you can't drill up there, I'd have to sort of come up over the inside a fair amount just to get rivets in it, but yeah, it'll be fine. You won't sort of notice that too much. Instead, I'll paint the outside so the panel's blue. The inside will be just black, so yeah, they'll blend in alright. Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. So, alright, we'll hit the like please, and we'll see you on the next video. Okay, bye.